Hope you're all still awake. Late Night Mega here, and I think Shadow beats Spark. I think that's still true. Which would mean Spark beats Snake, so yeah, that didn't work on them. So yeah, there's two variances in the boss weakness pattern compared to the NES version's weakness run. And as I've mentioned, you guys shock for way too long. As I mentioned in Mega Man 4, that sometimes the weaknesses between the Game Boy series and the... oh, this part's hard. Between the Game Boy series and the NES series tends to throw off my ability to remember who's weak to what. Well, that didn't work out. Let's try this again, but with less running into these guys. There we go. I do feel that their sparking goes on longer than it did in the NES version. Nope, going down. That is actually an insanely tight jump, and probably one of the more difficult aspects of this game. At least in my opinion. Okay, where were we with you? And I'm just gonna let this guy go by. And back. That was not efficient at all, and we don't have Rush Coil, which apparently we get that from Snake Man in this game. Well, at least we made it halfway. Alright, no more trying to do fancy slides when a simple walk off the ledge is good enough. And I still get hit by those things. Okay. Oh, spike drop. Spike drop with time bombs. Yeah, this is new, and you can also conveniently skip most of the time bombs. But if you don't skip the time bombs, just jump when it says 0. Oh, and more of those difficult jumps. If you wait there on the edge, you might get hit, you might get knocked off. Not a good time. I'm not going to be fancy and try to slide through there. The stage should be almost over. I kept thinking something was going to pop out of that tunnel. Alright, definitely going to use Shadow Blade on Sparkman. And we still have the jagged stage, so that's nice. Oh, he's immune when he's charging up. Sparkman, still fairly easy to dodge. I believe his supercharged spark attack is smaller than what it was in the NES version. But given the proportions of the game, who knows? We get Spark Shock, which is not nearly as useless as it was in the NES game. So hooray for that. And now we go to Snake Man. Yeah, Spark Shock in this game functions much like Iceman's weapon from Mega Man 1. So it's very worth using. You can freeze an enemy and then switch to a different weapon to take it out. And we get our weapon's energy back. Ow. One other thing you'll notice that's different about this version is we can't just we can't stand on a far side and avoid the wiggly parts of the snake, but Shadow Blade does nicely against the giant snakes. In fact, Shadow Blade just does nicely through here in general. That is also a very tight jump, and I almost thought I was going to fall in there. And if it looks like we've been here before, well, that's due to the repeating stage layout design. Oh. Shadow Blade is nice against these guys as well. And we have tons of weapons energy, so yeah, this is like the Metal Blade from Mega Man 2, almost. Eddie, a 1-up would have been really nice there. Oh yeah, we also have Eddie, speaking of Mega Man 4 technology. Whereas Eddie was not in Mega Man 3 on the NES. Oh, there's a 1-up. Did Shadow Blade just take out both those guys in one shot? I think it did. There's no secret down that pit. I've already tested that. If you don't kill that guy, he hits some sort of edge and then comes back, so do be mindful of that. This guy might be easier to use our new Spark weapon on, if Spark actually affected him. And we can get an energy tank there, maybe. Get out of here with that. Who needs energy tanks? See, he came back. That's a really tight jump. And we're back here. So I'll meet you guys back there. Alright, let's try this again. Hopefully with a bit less failure. There we go. Yeah, Shadow Blade, great weapon in this game. Again, it was pretty great in the NES version as well. Alright. Ow. Yep, he's weak to Spark. He's very weak to Spark. And once again, I feel the slower, clunkier movement of Mega Man in the Game Boy series, as well as the proportions, makes dodging Snake Man even more difficult. Hey, there's Rush Coil. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next part.